So in chapter 1, they talk about laying plans, right? And one of the first things that's mentioned is the art of war is of vital importance to the state. Who is the state? Who or what is the state? The state is your kingdom, it's your empire, it's your business, it's your people, your family, or what you've built so far, what you've grown. To not think of potential threats is a grave mistake, a massive error in judgment. And even worse is to not be prepared. The art of war is governed by 5 constant factors. Number 1, moral law. Number 2, heaven. Number 3, earth. Number 4, the commander. And number 5, method and discipline. Number 1, the moral law. I feel like this has a massive influence on your people. A wise ruler takes responsibility for this, and he's aware of it, and he also continuously seeks to improve and maintain it at the same time. Your thoughts, your actions, your choices, all of this will have an influence, and it'll have an impact on the people you know, your friends, your family, your associates, your employees. And appearing weak or unstable is going to spark up uncertainty, doubt, even distrust with your people, whether that's at the workplace or even in your family at home. The second one, heaven, this signifies external factors for me, right? Sunshine, rain, winter, summer, seasons, everything that is not in our control. Me and you cannot change whether it's day or night, whether it's raining or whether there's sunshine. We can't change whether it's winter. We can't change those circumstances or those conditions, but we can navigate those circumstances and conditions. We can navigate through the external factors. And a wise ruler pursues knowledge so that he can understand in which season to plant the seed and in which season to harvest it. You can't make the mistake of planting in the wrong season, right? A wise ruler knows what time of day should he rest, what time of day should he work. A wise ruler plans for the winter when it is summer. An even wiser ruler not only flows with the seasons, but in fact, he actually goes and he uses those seasons and the external factors and conditions against his enemies. Number 3, earth. They talk about it comprises distance, danger, security, open ground, etc., etc. This to me tells me to be aware of the terrain, right? In which terrain? The terrain in the marketplace, the terrain in your family, right? There might be mental terrains, there might be physical terrains. For example, where is your competition located? Right? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? Who is their target market? What mistakes are you doing? What are you doing right? What's the market sentiment with regards to your products and services? What's the market sentiment with regards to their products and services? How easy is it for you to move into another direction, another product or service or a different approach? This is the type of things that I'm thinking of considering when you are navigating the market terrain or any terrain in life, for that matter. Number 4, the commander, they say it stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. The author is basically giving you the characteristics here that's required for a great commander or a great king. If your kingdom is still small and still growing right now, chances are good that you are playing the king and the commander at this stage. And rightfully so, because if you cannot be a good commander first, then when you are only king, when are you going to be able, how are you going to be able to identify a good commander when you actually meet one or see one? These type of characteristics is an absolute necessity when you are running a business, a kingdom, your family, or any type of empire or organization. How are you managing your team or your people? Right? How are you upskilling them, training them, promoting them? Your family, your associates, your friends, all of those people, your employees, all of them are part of your army. 2 things that really stood out for me that is of vital importance for the commander is maintenance and expenditure. Right? There's certain things that you got to maintain. If you don't maintain your sales pipeline, your marketing, the flow of information, your mind, body, machinery, whatever, if you don't do maintenance there, then you will effectively halter your own ability. And one cannot blame circumstances or conditions because they are actually shaped by your own hand. Next up, what also stood out for me here is the 5 heads of victory. Number 1, who is most imbued with moral law? I love that word, imbued. I'm going to make a point of learning new words and their meanings this year. Who is most likely to be just, fair, wise, and honorable? The second head, who has most ability? You got to be honest with yourself and know your competition. The person that knows himself and his enemy is more likely to emerge victorious. Number 3, who has the advantages of heaven and earth? First of all, you've got to make sure you understand the terrain, right? You know the circumstances and conditions that you are in and that your enemy or your opposition is in. And then you've got to be able, with that knowledge, to identify advantages and disadvantages for both parties. You not only need to be informed of all of these factors, but you need to be intelligent as well. Prior to making a move in your marriage, in your personal life, in the marketplace, in your business, a wise leader will thoroughly examine this prior to making a move. Number 4, on which side is discipline most vigorously enforced? Between you and whoever you're competing with, who shows up strong every single day, over and over and over again? And in which areas does that person show up? You've got to be honest with yourself. Beware of the ego here, right? Keep the ego out of it. Be logic and truthful so that your ego doesn't blind you from possible disadvantages that you're facing or possible advantages that you can have, or even opportunities. Number 5, which army is stronger? Who's got the most skills? Who's got the biggest team? Who's got the most resources, right? Who's more advanced in technology? All of this stuff, we can actually go and analyze this in the marketplace. We can analyze this if you put a group of people, your people together, right? You can analyze who's got the most resources, who's the most skilled, who's the most capable or competent. You can actually go and analyze this in so many different situations or scenarios in life and in business and even in your personal life. I love what they're saying about all warfare is based on deception. That essentially to me means that all personal, tactical, and strategic information is extremely valuable. In the right hands, in your hands, when it's kept private, it can be a powerful shield, and in the wrong hands, it could be a deadly weapon, and people can use it against you. The less people know about you, your plans, your dreams, your strategy, whatever you've got going for you, the more unpredictable you are. People fear and respect and tread cautiously when it comes to unpredictable people. You can apply so many of the lessons in this book to so many things in life. Life is war, and strategy and knowledge is key. Right? If you've got strategy and knowledge and you can apply it, my man, you're going to be fine. You cannot afford to be weak and look weak on top of that at the same time. You might as well put a 10-feet billboard up and show all of your people, your competition, and any enemy out there, hey, attack now. Big, massive, capital letters, attack now. We got to remember that we don't just have threats from the outside. A lot of times there's threats in the inside. I can promise you now, there's people in your life that secretly wish you ill. Whether you think so or not, I promise you somebody's there. Or at least somebody that would find pleasure in your demise or downfall. Or when you slip up at something. The same thing is applicable for when you're doing great, right? Let's say you've got lots of cash in reserve, the business is booming, you are doing great, man. Don't go and brag about it to the entire world. Don't blabber it out. Because whether you think so or not, this world has a couple of scabberats, right? Scavengers. They're going to come in like hyenas. Be mysterious, strong, capable, and calm, stable. Right? You got to be very careful. Choose. You can choose, and you got to choose carefully. What type of perception do you want to evoke for the outside world, or the people around you, or the people watching from the outside, or your enemies? It's a skill, right? And if you practice it over and over again, eventually you will master it, just like any other skill. What also stood out for me is that you should tread cautiously, right? When you are dealing with outside people, enemies, or opposition, you got to analyze them. Analyze the conditions, the circumstances, that person or the organization's culture, the temperament, the characteristics that they have, their advantages, their disadvantages. And once you properly analyze that, you can actually use that against your opposition or your enemy or whatever you want to call it. You can use it against them and capitalize on it. I feel like it's also important to remember the first governing factor here, right? The moral law. Make sure that your ego doesn't get in the way. We want to conquer and we want to grow and we want to build a bigger kingdom. Sometimes you got to fight, sometimes you got to make war, but not at the expense of your own people or other people, innocent people out there. When you've got no choice, right? You've got your back against the wall and it's you got to choose, it's me or them. Then yes, you do this. But one's not going to go and practice this and become an excellent master of war, master of conquering people and other companies and marketing just for the pleasure of it, right? More often than not, it's going to be necessary, I understand that, but we can't get skilled in this, right? You become such a brilliant strategist. You can conquer everywhere you go. When you start conquering and ruining other people or companies or organizations just for pleasure, then you got to check yourself, right? Then you're breaking the first moral law or governing factor, and it'll probably never end up well in the end. I also love the statement of the battle is fought in the commander's temple. Where is the temple? It's your head. Your head, our head is our temple. That is why it's of vital importance to pursue knowledge, right? To maintain and develop, continuously develop and maintain a focused and clear mind. If you want success in any area of your life, you're going to have to do this. Chapter 2 talks about waging war. Now, when you are waging war, whether it's with another individual, a company, a group of people, whatever, if there's a battle going on, make sure that you know what the cost of that battle is, number one. And number two, make sure that you are willing to pay that cost. And then number three, most importantly, make sure that it's worth it. Any type of conflict, an argument, a lawsuit, whatever, it takes resources, whether it's energy, focus, financial resources. Only an illiterate leader is going to spend, say, 10,000 gold pieces in order to win 5,000 silver pieces. Right? It's stupid. When you do decide to engage in a battle with a company or even an argument with a person or whatever, let it be swift, right? Calculation plus speed equals cleverness. That is something that stood out for me here. Be clever, wise, and responsible when you're making moves. This is why it's so stupid to prolong conflict or prolong an argument, drag it out. You are wasting resources, right? Either because you've miscalculated or because your ego is in the way. You want to do it because it's out of principle. There's a lot of principles that I don't care about if it's going to cost me a stupid amount of money to go and have a dog fight with somebody or a pissing contest. Right? You got to know when to fight and when not to fight. When is it worth it and when it's not. When you do decide to engage in conflict or a battle, be aware of your team's state of mind or their morale. Right? Or your army. Be aware of your army. Senseless, small, stupid battles is going to tire out your family, your team, your army, your people. And in turn, it's just going to weaken morale, strength, and everybody's capability. When we conquer in the marketplace, in sales, or any type of deal or win, we're going to make sure that we reward those responsible for that win, that deal, or that sale. Reward those people first, right? A wise leader looks after his people. You can't be greedy over here, right? Every time I've made a massive amount of money in my life, I take that money, I dump it back into the kingdom, back into my people. I make sure that I share enough with my people, enough for them to have their bellies full as well. Right, the more I dump back into the kingdom, the bigger it grows, the more it expands, the more capable we become. And in turn, we just make more and more money. It's like the snowball effect. You are the leader of your people, your family, your company, or your organization. You've got everybody's fate in your hands. If they trusted you and you're appointed as leader, you have their fate in your hands. Right? You are going to determine your skills, the amount of work that you put into yourself, your awareness. You are going to determine whether everybody ends up with success or whether everybody ends up in disaster. Chapter 3, attack by stratagem. I like this one. There's a lot of wisdom in it. When you are conquering other companies or other people or organizations, or you win in a debate, they talk about take a kingdom whole. Don't go and destroy, bomb the shit out of the entire kingdom, and then when you conquer something, you just conquered a bunch of ground with nothing on it, right? If I'm in an argument with somebody and I completely destroy that person, I attack his character, I humiliate him in front of people, that person is likely to hate me for the rest of his life. Then I've gained absolutely nothing, right, except to win an argument. That is stupid. But if I outsmart him, intellectually outplayed him with class and kindness, then I might gain an admirer, right, perhaps even a friend. This has happened before, right? You don't have to be vicious all the time. You can win in style and with class and kindness and still be compliant with the moral law. Don't go and ruin your competition, right? Obliviate them. Rather buy them or force them to merge under your company. To conquer and grow is better than just to conquer alone, right? I'd rather make my team bigger, my army bigger. Even in my organization, right? I had to conquer in many different areas. I had to show people that I am fit to rule, that I am capable, that it's worth it to buy into me. And every time I do so in style and in class, my organization gets bigger, my blessings get more, right? I grow the empire. I like how they talk about a skilled commander. Oftentimes, you know, they conquer kingdoms with very little casualties or no casualties at all. The skilled leader conquers without a fight. Not because he doesn't want to fight or he's afraid to fight, but because his intellectual capability allows him to do it cheap, right? He can save a lot of time, energy and resources by simply outsmarting. And if you are willing to put the ego aside to constantly pursue wisdom, truth and knowledge, I promise you, when you take action on these things, a lot of times I've seen people take over companies with very little effort, like people asking, can you please take over my company? I like how the author subtly kind of distinguishes between people that follow and people that are obedient, especially in a army situation, right? For me, it's better to have people follow me than just obey me. I feel that obedience has a lot of conditions. Even though obedience is important and valuable, oftentimes I feel that obedience alone is based on fear and duty, you know. But when people follow you, right, like they follow you, then it's based on admiration, love, respect, out of free will. They choose to follow you. These type of people are more likely to stick with you and fight till the death. I mean, take my team for example. They follow me, right? They're not here for money. They're here because of what I showed them we are capable of. And they've seen what we are capable of and what I am capable of in a day. These people will sleep under a bridge with me. And that's because they follow me. If it was simple and plain obedience, I think we might have had a couple of rough patches, or even perhaps have seen our demise if it was just based on obedience and I just had employees. If I can wrap this up in one sentence, the leader that has morals, is aware, knows himself as well as his opposition, is the leader that is most likely to emerge victorious.